again, and welcome to another episode of the Wine Animal YouTube, where today we are going to be tasting through two of my favorite wines. And one, I'll be honest, my not so favorite wines. But it's Cabernet Franc, it's not Cabernet Sauvignon, so it's not quite as low down in my preferential list of wine varieties. But what's your favorite wine variety? Don't say Cabernet, please don't say Cabernet.
I am just in love with Chardonnay and the beautiful Bordelaise family. Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, I just find ethereal, motivating creatures.
It's funny, I reckon majority of winemakers that ask the question say Cabernet is their favourite varietal. It's incredible, and I just can't see it. So, anyway, we have brews from Domaine Naturaliste in WA. So in Margaret River, in Williabra. So that's northern Margaret River?
It's the northern part of Margaret River, and so we're about 25 kilometres south of Cape Naturaliste, the very northern point that defines my
that's
region.
Obviously where the naturalist comes from in the label and the name.
Absolutely.
And the ship. Tell me about the ship.
Well, the whole of the Margaret River region, it's a coastal region with this beautiful maritime climate. And of course, it's that maritime climate that really provides these really sort of sympathetic, long, gentle growing season for the vines. And it's that climate that affects what I do all day, every day for the last few decades.
Aren't you picking Chardonnay in January?
Sorry?
Aren't you picking Chardonnay grapes in January sometimes?
Oh, no. I usually wait till Valentine's Day because
It's so early.
Because that's the day after my birthday, and nothing can be ripe until after my birthday. So it's always Valentine's Day for the start.
Okay.
No, not really.
But sometimes it's January, right? Like it's been like recently you've had a couple of vintages
It's
where
very
it's been very early.
rare that the grapes can be ready at the end of January, but that's only sort of one or two sites in the entire region.
Yeah, in the stretch. So we're obviously maritime, we're coastal, we're perfect growing season, we're warm days, we're cool nights, breeze.
Beautiful afternoon
breeze,
breezes that always sort of come in from the southwest, and so that means sort of cooler air off the Indian Ocean, off the Great Southern Ocean, and that cooler air is also moisture laden, and so it creates the really beautiful afternoon conditions for plants to keep photosynthesizing. So if it's a very dry wind or dry winds, it's very desiccating for the plants, not good for their photosynthesis and health. If it's moisture laden, it makes it very easy to photosynthesize. It's not desiccating for the plants. And so there's just a number of little weather phenomenon, I guess, that seem to join together to make just a beautiful set of natural conditions climatically for certain types of grapes. And then I think that's overlaid on these truly ancient decomposed granite soils, and you just need to sort of go down to one of my favourite places in the world, Canal Rocks in Yallingup, and have a look at those big granite outcrops and the waves smashing into it. And it's all that granite that's just rotted in place that's formed these ancient, quite moderate fertility soils that seem to work really well with the vines, just giving them a natural balance. It's kind of like that sort of Goldilocks stuff, that it's not too fertile, it's not too infertile, it's just sort of right. And so the vines will achieve a natural balance, meaning typically around full-length shoots of 1 metre or maybe 1.1 metres, usually by Christmas. Then the moisture levels in the soil gradually decline. It sends a little message to the vine, hey, stop growing, you've had enough. You've got to think about the kids. And so with those full-length solar panels sort of formed by Christmas, the vines can then sort of focus on the ripening of the fruit. And so it's the soil, the climate, and I think the particular varieties that all join together to contribute to a little bit of magic in some of the fruit, in the way it has a freshness, a texture, just sort of, it's exhilarating fruit.
So much more to it than what we all take for granted is just fermented grape juice in a bottle, right? And I think a lot of people do just take that for granted, that it's just fermented grape juice in a bottle, but there is so much more detail and intricacy and knowledge and stress around vintage time and pressures, and that go along with just putting, what this liquid gold, as we'll call Chardonnay, liquid gold. But I have a yes or no question for you. And it's on camera, so one answer. First answer done. Is Margaret River the best wine growing region in Australia?
For Chardonnay and Cabernet, absolutely.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
We're going to say there's a yes, so we can get. We've
Yes,
got him on
yes.
camera there saying that, so we can use this to our advantage. But we have 2 Chardonnays, and interestingly, so the Purist and the Artist are the 2 different Chardonnays, the silver and the gold, we'll call them. And each year I get both, obviously, and my wife and I always have alternating views on the wines every year. And it's usually always been that I like the Artist and she likes the Purist. This year, however, we flipped the 24s. We flipped, which is the first time since 2019 might have been the first ones that I tried of yours. So tell me about the Purist, because that's what we have in the glass here now. It's like super clear. So tell us about the Purist.
The name Purist refers to a very sort of pure translation of the fruit into wine. And so these beautiful vines are grown in the south of Margaret River in Carradale. And Carradale is an amazing Chardonnay area, and it's always on the precipice of falling off the edge or greatness. And these are the beautiful Bernard clones, 95 and 76. But anyway, they're quite aromatic, super fine clones. And so this is a wine that is made with those 2 selections, very, very low toast oak, no batonnage in the oak at all. And it's about preserving the absolute fruit purity as well as the personality. And the personality is very important. And so the way I approach the winemaking in this, hand-picked fruit, the first juice that sort of comes out has a little bit of dust and iron oxide from the vineyard. The pressings have a little bit more tannin. So those 2 fractions are separated. But that middle fraction that I call the pure white hearts, that goes straight to make this wine's completely unadulterated. And so it has all the natural grape composition in there, including some of the natural phenolics, because I'm concerned about the purity of translation. And so some of that slight phenolic tension, things like that I might have polished out of these wines 20 years ago, I actually leave in there, because to me, my wine values are now about those little details, those little nuances. And if you start polishing off little details and little nuances, you start kind of sanitizing personality. And I always think sort of personality and charisma always trumps over polish.
So basically, maybe for simple terms, a made wine, like a winemaker made wine or a vineyard made wine, right? Like, 'cause you let in the vineyard and the grapes express themselves in their purest
Well,
form.
I think it is that, and it's a case of, well, this is what I think is the most honest translation I can possibly make. And if you don't like that, that's fine. Go and drink something else.
Yeah.
But it's this honesty and charisma from the vineyard that's identifying it, locating it to a particular part of the world that I find very important to me.
I mean, for me, this one, this is the 24, right? Yeah, the 24. This for me was the one that I enjoyed. I like the precision, the clarity. It's very fine. It's almost delicate, but with a lot of this like back palate weight and power, acid drive. It's still very Margaret River. Like, it still has that Margaret River fruit profile that I call it. And you walk along the beach, it's windy, and that sort of sea spray smacks you in the face, and it's really annoying because it hurts, right? It gets in your eyes, but that smell and taste you get from that, you sort of get that in these wines.
You're a sensitive man, Brennan.
Sensitive,
Very
soft,
sensitive.
soft. Moisturise my hands. That's how soft I am, and that's what my mates used to say in the tradie world, that I was soft because I'm moisturised. Well, I mean, I like to be soft. What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that. But this is a really pure, clean, like crisp version of a Margaret River Chardonnay for me personally. But just want to talk about what I like, and then jumping into the next glass. We're going back to 2023, which is considered, from what I've been told and what I've tasted, to be one of the greats from Margaret River of all time. Could very well surpass 2018 as the GOAT vintage. And everything from 23 I've tried has been off the charts. So now the artists, tell me about the artists, the difference in the artists. Because to me, it's clear in the glasses and it's clear in taste, but for the people that can't taste it right now in their glass.
Well, artists is very, very different origins. That artists is the beautiful gin clone of Chardonnay that's really synonymous to Margaret River. And it seems to be one of the few places in the world that particular clone can sort of intersect with soil and climate and deliver just energized grape juice with just lashings and lashings of natural acidity. And it's those lashings and lashings of natural acidity that artist needs to tame. Mm-hmm. And so artist is a journey with the wild yeasts from the outside of the fruit, that pure white hearts, completely unfined, unadulterated, completely unrestricted malolactic fermentation, and with the wine growing a little bit more in the barrels. And so the growth of the wine in barrels, that it sort of starts out like a somewhat sort of skeletal teenager, that it's got all the beautiful components there, but are not quite in balance. And so with the batonnage that we do, usually every couple of weeks, there's no sort of set recipe, but gradually over the maturation of 9 or 10 months in the oak, that sort of skeletal teenager that's out of balance sort of begins to get a little flesh on the bones and develop the symmetry and balance of hopefully a beautifully formed young adult.
There's new oak in this one?
Oh, look, there's about 40% new oak in both of them.
Very low toast in there.
Very low toast, very subtle. And we've changed the oak a little bit, that there's a bit more of the beautiful Allier oak that's a very textural oak. It's got slightly higher toast levels, smidgen of the beautiful Vosges oak, and of course some sort of fascinating, almost ethereal characters of the sort of flint or cordite elements that creep into this wine that seem to be associated with the batonnage in the barrels. And it's one of the exciting things I find about wine, because you can't quite explain or work out where all these different characters come from.
It's so weird. Like, I mean, I used to think early on, very early on, and still now sometimes when I listen to and watch tasting notes and read tasting notes, I'm like, how the hell can you taste that in a grape? Like, how do you pick a grape off and be like, this tastes like a semi-dried rose petal, or this tastes like a dehydrated lime peel? Like, I find it, and taste is individual, just as our fingerprints are. And obviously what I taste, it can be very different to what Bruce tastes and what you taste, and it's perfectly fine. There is no, unless you're going for a master som but there is obviously a right and wrong there, according to the panel that judge you. But there is really no right or wrong in what you taste and what you in flavour profile, right? Like,
I don't think so. It's very personal, and even at different times of the day, you'll interpret things. And we've learnt so much more about flavours and aromas since sort of 30, 40 years ago. That the light, the company, the music, your mood actually affect perception. And it's also fascinating to think of nature, I guess, as the ultimate sort of recycler of different compounds, flavour compounds. And yes, you can get your banana in a banana, but you can also smell that same banana sort of fragrance in a freshly fermenting wine. Mm-hmm. And so there is this beautiful recycling in nature.
Love it. I really like the power of that wine, though. Like, the fruit power behind that wine is just something else in the 23.
The fruit is very exciting. And it's also, to me, quite an exciting wine, because with the wild yeasts, the full malolactic, the batonnage, there's kind of all these variables that you can't control. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to, because I think when I leave those elements to themselves, they can create something intrinsically beautiful, that's always intrinsically different each year. But that's the whole point of wine. And it's almost a statement that I don't want my life or my wines to be like, they're little members of a tray of ice cubes where they all have their little place. I want there to be a certain loss of control and randomness, because I'm trying to make something that sort of reflects nature and agriculture, not something like Coca-Cola that's meant to be the same every year. Yeah. This isn't meant to be the same.
In fact, it's got such high acidity. It's obviously a huge requirement to be able to use that high new oak, the batonnage, the malolactic. Like, you need the natural acidity, the high natural acidity behind it. Otherwise, it will come across as flabby almost. Like, it'll come across like fat
it will come across flabby,
but that has such drive.
Well, I think it's not just the acidity, but it's the beautiful concentration of flavours and inherent natural balance that actually comes from the vineyard that allows this wine to be possible. And hopefully it's a logic-driven wine too, because say if I did those winemaking techniques on the Purist, the wine would actually be flat and not have enough acidity. And so I always try and understand the composition of the fruit and then how to translate that something through to what I call culturally relevant. And culturally relevant to me means as least altered from the raw food to the final food as possible, because that to me is success in agriculture. It's, if you grow wheat and it's really well suited to noodles, well, make noodles. Don't try and make bread. Run with the strengths of it, and that's what I'm trying to do with these wines, with very traditional winemaking techniques.
But I love both of them actually. So maybe it's a sign of the vintages too. And then in the far right glass, we have Cabernet Franc, Willie Abrip, 2022.
Absolutely.
2022. Okay, so a couple of years older, or yeah. Yep, but that is current release, or is that...
This is brand new release.
Unreleased?
No.
Current
it was released on the 1st of October.
I mean, it's pretty much brand new.
It's brand new.
It's pretty much brand new. And we're talking a single variety. Do you always do a single varietal Cabernet Franc?
I have done so since 2018.
So this is from your vineyard?
This is from my vineyard, and this is a very sort of specific selection of Cabernet Franc that I've grafted in there, and it's been almost a 20-year journey from becoming aware of that particular selection of Cab Franc to now have it actually farmed, growing in my vineyard on now 25, 26-year-old vines.
Well, I mean, it has Margaret River Cabernet written all over it, and that may sound cliche or stupid, whatever it sounds like, but it doesn't bother me because that's what I smell when I put my nose in here. It's unashamedly Margaret River Cabernet. It has spice, it has herbaceousness, but not greenness, which is what I always don't like about Cabernet generally, personally.
Well, it's lucky it's Cabernet Franc then, Breno.
It still starts with Cabernet, doesn't it? Like, it still has that, like, it gets me going, right? People are like, they pause and say Franc, and it's like, I'm going to be like, yes! But look, I mean, it smells appealing, it smells inviting, it has, the hallmarks of... I love there's no spittoon either. I love that we can just drink it and actually really appreciate it. But it has like really fine grain tannin, like really soft, but they are very integrated.
The Cabernet Franc has been such an exciting learning curve for me to really drill down on. And we've had a lot of misses with this Cab Franc, and I was working on the Cab Franc project for quite a while before I had access to this fruit from my vineyard, and a lot of the earlier Cab Francs I'd completely ruined.
What did you do with them then?
Well, I was primarily maturing them in the small 225 litre Bordeaux barrels because I thought, good idea, it's a Bordelais variety. But what was happening before I could sort of get the tannin softened in balance, I was losing the high-level fruit aromats. And so then started experimenting, put it in a bigger container. And so since moving to the 500 litre puncheons, had worked out that after sort of 14, 16 months, something like that, that I can have the sort of high-level aromatics there, the softening of the tannins coincide. We've also had to get really good at the farming of this, because I was mentioning that my wife Wendy, son Tim go through the vineyard. Well, the Cab Franc is the primary culprit, I guess, of having at the top of its normal bunches, it has the little wings on it. And of course, the little wings don't quite have the plumbing system, or as plant people would say, like the vascular connection to it, and so they ripen a little bit slower. And so every year in January, we've got to go through, nip off the little wings, pop out any of the berries, because what I'm really trying to focus on is this exploration of these purple and blue and violet characters in Cab Franc, not necessarily that sort of crunchy and greener style. And we've had to soften the maceration techniques, reduce the fermentation temperatures. So it's been quite exciting and a very sort of interactive journey.
I mean, I enjoy the wine. I appreciate the wine.
Are you a changed man?
No.
Oh.
No. I'm an honest man,
Well,
too.
you know, as your palate matures, you've got plenty of potential.
So many times now. Hey, I mean, look, it's true, though. You put a 30-year-old Bordeaux in the glass in front of me, and I'll probably tell you it's one of the greatest wines I've ever had. And maybe that is just a sign. But I'm also very comfortable in my own skin in knowing that those varieties are not my preference. And that is all it is. It is my preference, right? I can still drink this wine, talk about this wine, assess this wine, score this wine if I had to, based on what it is, even if I don't like it. And that's just one thing that I've spent a lot of time over the last probably 18 months with the mentors that I have telling me that you need to be able to judge wine that you don't like, and you need to be able to judge it properly, because it's very easy to say, oh, I don't like it, I'm going to score it low, but it doesn't make it a bad wine. And that happens all too frequently. But the Chardonnays for me are the kings out of this stable. Domaine Naturaliste, WA, all right? You heard northern part of Margaret River, Williabra, all right? Carrydale for the Purist, so that's down south. So some producers down Xanadu down south.
No, it's much further down south. We're
past Lewin.
We're past Lewin. We're probably 20 kilometres north of Augusta, the very southern tip of Margaret.
We'll put a map up on the screen so we can show exactly where it is.
South.
Because Margaret River, everyone thinks is this, and the percentage of wine coming from Margaret River on Australian scale is so minute, but the quality level is.
I think it's about 2% of the total.
Oh, JJ's told me all the stats. No.
I would never go against any of JJ's stats.
You can't go against his stats. He's just the stat man. But if you're after these wines, head to his website. All right. My thing is to support the wineries direct and the winemakers direct. Please jump on board, support him, Look at the shirt he's wearing. I mean, it's a man of my heart wearing a colourful shirt, right? I'm wearing branded stuff because my wife believes that it's important for me to wear the branded stuff. I was never too keen on that. But coming up, and to finish off the segment, I'm going to be doing a blind tasting for Bruce. I brought something along that I want him to try, and I'm going to give him 60 seconds, 90 seconds to smell it, taste it, assess it, and tell me what it is. So stay tuned for that. All right. So now I'll pour one. No, I'll just pour one out. Okay. Just make a little blend.
I can see what they taste like together.
Yeah, we can mix them. We can make our own blend, and then I'll go and pour it into.
I've got to save a fortune on labels.
Exactly. Make a blend. Well, we did the allocation tasting yesterday at Seville Estate, and blending at the end is the best part. Absolutely the best part. Well, I like barrel 10 and barrel 12 and barrel 15. Or let's put the three of them together. All right. Don't hit the camera. Oh, don't touch it yet, right? Not allowed to touch it
Okay.
yet. Not allowed to touch it yet. Not allowed to touch it yet. All right. We good? All right. So, welcome to the Wine Animal Blind Tasting Challenge. I've got Bruce Jukes here from Domaine Naturaliste in the Wild Wild West, and I've put something in a glass in front of him, and he's got 60 seconds, 90 seconds. He's got not many seconds to smell it, taste it, assess it, and then tell me what he thinks it is. We're going to go grape, region, vintage.
Right,
that's what we're going to go for. We're not going to go too extreme because I feel like I just feel like it's difficult to nail producers. I just feel like it's too difficult. So your time starts now.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's certainly a beautiful wine. It looks to be sort of fairly young. I always get excited when I see these beautiful green hues in the wine. Green hues, not green characters, green hues.
Clarify that one.
And a beautiful texture. There's a subtle input of beautiful oak, and so it's, to me, possibly a Chardonnay. Quite a recent vintage. Very well integrated oak.
See that. So we've got the grape variety correct. Okay. We said young wine, so you just have to pick a
So
vintage.
22, 23.
Okay, tick. 23, correct.
Can I stop now?
No, can't stop now. Can't stop now. Now you got to give me region, and then if you want to go for producer, then we can nail that too.
The region, I don't think it's Margaret River. Could well be my own wine.
That would be a great blind tasting thing to do. Make them taste their own wine.
But very complete. The fruit's got lovely vibrancy, lovely level of ripeness, but still this beautiful pristine core of natural acidity. And it's got a purple glow to it.
Yeah, the purple light's great, isn't it? I actually wore purple the first time I came in here on my shirt and wasn't even on purpose. Maybe I should get a little purple wine animals when I'm in here.
But I would possibly be thinking it's Yarra Valley or Mornington Peninsula.
Play the man. Trying to play the man. So I can give you a hint that I actually mentioned the producer earlier in one of the episodes earlier.
Right. I'm at a loose end at the moment.
So it's from Margaret River.
Right.
And I mentioned it before.
And so this could be Xanadu.
It is Xanadu. It is Xanadu's 2023 Black Label Chardonnay.
Ah, delicious.
Delicious, isn't it? Just love 2023.
Well, possibly the goat of Margaret River, as you mentioned.
One of the goats. There's a lot of goats in Margaret River, right? And the vintage is the goat. That's for absolute sure.
It is a really nice place to make wine because although each year is a little bit different, there's sort of differences in personality, not necessarily major climatic sorts of swings. And I think the last really big, really different one was 2006. And that season was about 4 degrees cooler over the entire growing season. And aside from that, every other vintage that I've at least been involved with has allowed us to get really lovely, ripe, fleshy sort of fruit.
Love it. Well, I'm going to give Bruce a pass on the blind tasting challenge because I'm pretty sure he did say it could be from his own backyard, right? So we'll give that a pass. You got the grape right, the vintage right. So we're gonna roll with that. So congratulations on passing.
I feel blessed.
I probably would have failed my own test. But again, a massive thanks to Bruce for being here. I truly appreciate it. As you all know, this really does mean the world to me that people give up their time to spend with me, a humble old chippy from the Yarra Valley. Stay tuned for heaps more to come over the coming months. And a massive thanks again, Bruce.
You're a rock star, Bruno. Thank you.
I'm trying. I'm definitely trying. And stay tuned. And the wine animal is out.